Greetings, I'm Lama Tantrapa. Welcome to the webinar dedicated to addressing the most prevalent problems that many Tai Chi and Qigong teachers experience in their practices. Today, we are also going to dedicate some time to discussing the upcoming World Tai Chi and Qigong Day. And I will also play a greeting video from the founder of the World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, Bill Douglas. He is a fantastic proponent of the internal arts and an author of the Complete Idiot's Guide to Tai Chi and Qigong. So what we're going to explore today is, first of all, we are going to discuss what are the three most prevalent, most egregious problems that people experience when they start teaching Tai Chi or Qigong or related disciplines. What happens is that sometimes people who feel excited about these arts or experience a lot of enjoyment, they start thinking about sharing these arts with other people. Sometimes the master may even encourage you to become an instructor because you're making good progress. Or sometimes you may just decide it's time for you to find a new career and become a Qigong teacher. So what happens is that we essentially come to this traditional methodology of sharing the internal arts from a variety of different perspectives. And thanks to modern lifestyle, of course, we have to deal with a different environment in our communities and in our countries that are very different from those environments that used to be back in China and other Asian countries where these arts originally come from. So guess what? There are many new problems, and some of them are not so new, that teachers of these arts experience and often get bogged down and really can't make it work for themselves. It often turns into such a challenge that they just quit or simply never get around to teach professionally. So what we do is we are going to discuss today how to transition from Qigong and Tai Chi as an avocation, which means essentially a hobby, and turn it into your vocation, which is professional practice in which you are making a living doing it and also helping other people benefit from these arts. Now, at the end of our webinar, I'm also going to mention to you something about the upcoming event, the World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, and in collaboration with that, about the new group that we are organizing, the Qigong Mastermind Group, that is going to be dedicated to helping each and every member of the group become more effective and more successful as a Tai Chi and Qigong teacher. Without further ado, let me jump right into the subject matter of our webinar today. What are these problems and how can we tackle them? Well, number one problem, I would say, is that you probably are not really in the line of work that you think you are in. What I mean by that is that a majority of Tai Chi teachers and Qigong instructors think that they are educators, or that they are wellness practitioners, or even mentors to their students. But what it really is about, it's really about empowering people. It's not about educating them. It's not about mentoring. And certainly it's related to, but not necessarily based on wellness discipline practice. What happens is that people who come to us to study are looking for something that would really enrich their lives, that would really boost their energy and vitality, And empowering them to discover what works for them is what really is the essence of our profession. It's not about teaching them certain forms or techniques. Some forms can be helpful. Some forms actually cannot be helpful at all, or it may even be detrimental. It depends on what the person needs. And who's going to know better what the person needs than the person themselves if they are empowered to work on discovering what really works for them. So instead of trying to cram the information into the students' minds, downloading the data, so to speak, into their minds, the successful Tai Chi and Qigong teachers inspire their students to explore and discover for themselves the most beneficial things that work best for them under the circumstances they are in at the moment. Tomorrow, some other practices may be more beneficial and under different circumstances, or for a different person under the same circumstance, it may require a different approach. So instead of a cookie cutter approach, just thinking that, oh, my style fits everyone, and so everyone who comes to study with me will benefit equally, we actually realize that different people need different experiences. There are different strokes for different folks, as it were. So what do? We essentially transition from focusing on teaching forms to focusing on sharing principles and inviting our students to test these principles, to discover for themselves what works and what doesn't work. And of course, we can help them and coach them in this process. But the beauty of it is that it is the process of self-realization. We can't realize anything for our students. They have to realize themselves. And that's what I also refer to as empowering them, because then they feel much more powerful. They feel empowered to make their own choices and follow their own paths, manifesting and living their authentic dreams. Now, another major challenge that I want to talk about today is associated with the focus on the features rather than the benefits, which is so prevalent among many Tai Chi and Qigong teachers. You probably remember the time when you had no idea about all the myriads of different styles of Tai Chi and thousands of different styles and forms of Qigong. You probably started practicing one type of internal arts or another without having any idea about all the thinking that such and such school of Tai Chi or Qigong would be the best one. You probably started exploring what would benefit you, hoping that it would help you feel more energy flowing in your body and or experience greater vitality, or perhaps address certain issues that you had that were bugging you down. And so what you wanted to experience is the benefits. You didn't really care about the form or any other features of the style. So for example, the history of it, the great grandmasters that it came from, or perhaps some other details about this particular school that you enrolled in, didn't really matter to you that much, did they? What I suspect happened is that eventually you got indoctrinated. Now, don't take me wrong. I don't want to say that there shouldn't be any loyalty to the school or the teacher. I don't want to say that our pedigree doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I'm lineage holder of Qidao myself. So I don't want to say that lineages have zero value. But what I do want to say is that we really need to focus on the benefits that we offer rather than the particular appearances or forms or features. You know, it's a standard phrase among business people that whenever you are marketing something, you've got to focus on benefits, not the features of whatever you're trying to market. Well, that's exactly what bogs down so many Tai Chi and Qigong teachers. They are trying to promote the features. They're trying to promote how great the history of the art is, or how pretty the silky robes are that they're wearing, or how flowery are the names of the moves that they're making. And of course, some focus a little bit more attention on the essence of things. For example, they talk about the energy, they talk about different states of consciousness, they talk about the dynamic meditations that people experience as they practice Tai Chi and Qigong. They may even talk about breathing. But guess what? That's the only thing that really deserves attention of the new people who are coming to study. And so whenever the teachers focus their attention in their presentations, in their demonstrations, in their marketing materials, in their videos, books, and whatever, on the features, they lose interest of 99% of people who get exposed to their marketing efforts. So this is one of the reasons why those teachers can't make living doing what they love doing. What do I suggest? Well, in order to overcome this problem associated with focusing on the features, we simply need to reorient our focus of attention. We need to focus on benefits. The benefits that also are continuously tested and applied. So we don't want to just assume that the benefits come as a result of this particular practice. We don't want to just assume that other people will receive the same benefits if we experience them. We want to put the practices to test each and every day. And every day we discover something new. This is what keeps our art alive. Otherwise, it starts stagnating and dying. You don't want to practice the dead art, do you? You probably want to practice a living and exciting art that also is constantly evolving. Well, this evolution is exactly what I'm here for. Your students will love you for that, for approaching art in this way, and will flock to study with you because you don't blow smoke up their asses, if you know what I mean. Now, there is also the third problem that a lot of people experience as Tai Chi and Qigong teachers. It's related to the second one quite directly. It's basically the problem associated with isolation and even narcissistic adoration of one's own style, believing it's the best one in the market. This isolation leads to closed-mindedness, which in turn leads to both constant stress from having to compete with other teachers and schools, as well as the sense of closed-mindedness, not being open to exposure to other styles and teachers. I call this the Fearlessness Syndrome. When, on one hand, we end up feeling like what we have to offer, our teachings are peerless, meaning they're the best. And on the other hand, we end up without peers. So nobody wants to deal with us. Nobody wants to collaborate with us if we feel that our stuff is the best. Because if out of thousands of styles that are out there, only one was the right, one was the best, that means others are inferior or they're wrong. Well, which would be a very funny thing to think about, because that means that all the thousands of people who are involved in these arts are completely delusional or just stupid. Well, they're not really stupid, and most of them aren't even delusional. Some practicing more effective disciplines and arts than others. There are plenty of those who practice less effective practices or techniques, but it doesn't mean that they're wrong or they have no value. And so what we do is we learn how to connect with other teachers, how to stop this or nip in the bud this fearlessness syndrome. We do this by connecting with organizations such as our professional associations, doing some joint ventures with our teachers, creating joint events or workshops, and of course, celebrating the World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, which is pretty much the only professional holiday we have at this point in time in our history. So we invite other teachers to our dojos or our studios and create a collaborative environment in which we can share with each other whatever we have to share and learn whatever we need to learn. We also create sense of camaraderie and respect. And by building rapport with other practitioners in the discipline in our field, we also create greater potential for benefiting, for creating mutually beneficial business relationships, which means we can create online programs together, we can write books together, we create videos or DVDs together, we can create joint events where more than one teacher has the stage at a time, or there may be, I've done a number of workshops in which, in addition to my own presentation, there would be another teacher presenting his or her part of the workshop. So we basically take turns. There's also a possibility of collaboration in terms of magazine production. You probably know that I used to publish Mastery magazine until not so long time ago, and published articles by a number of interesting teachers and practitioners in our disciplines. And I continue publishing and producing the talk show, The Secrets of Qigong Masters, by interviewing over 200 teachers and experts in Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation, and related disciplines. I learned a great deal from them about the best business practices, the best approaches and techniques, and also was very happy to share whatever I could share in terms of my approaches and techniques and methods that work really well. Now, this also means that I get exposed to a tremendous population of people. Not only did I position myself at the hub of activity in the internal arts, it also means that there are hundreds of people that respect me for connecting, reaching out to them and saying, hey, I'm really interested in what you teach. Why don't you share with my listeners about your teachings? Perhaps you can also tell us about your books or your upcoming events, workshops, retreats, and what have you. And this eventually led to a number of really interesting collaborations when we would organize online programs and seminars. Several very well-known Tai Chi and Qigong teachers, including Roger Yunke and Lee Holden and Montauk Chia and Mingtong Gu and Effie Chow participated in our online programs. And we also organized the Summit of Qigong Masters. 2 summits. We essentially invited a dozen of top-notch Qigong experts to present presentations on the subjects of the evolution of humankind that can be facilitated by practicing energy arts, and also how to experience abundance by being in flow. Now, what does it mean? It means that those teachers who decided that collaboration is better than competition benefited a great deal from this exposure. They received tremendous amount of value in terms of free publicity, and also learned a great deal about how to do this type of work, so much so that some of them now put out webinars. I'm not the only one who puts out webinars. They also organize online programs. One of them, Pedram Shojai, recently even launched a media academy. 2 years ago, when he first appeared on my show, he had no experience in media. Now, he's teaching how to do media presentations and build your own media empire. So I'm not going to teach you how to build a media empire. I'm not here to sell you any programs, but I do want to mention to you that together with several well-known Tai Chi and Qigong teachers, we are organizing the third mastermind group. We have done 2 mastermind groups already, which each lasted for a year. And in the first mastermind group, we had 6 really great teachers. Some of them were not well-known, some of them were quite well-known, including a really well-known teacher from Colorado, John Milton, and also Nadia Hall. And there were teachers from Canada and from New Zealand and from Europe and Hawaii. So we had a really amazing international group of people. And also the same happened in the second mastermind group that included twice as many participants, also coming from all over the world, sharing the best practices, their connections, sharing some leads with each other, collaborating on creating joint events. Now, can you imagine connecting with a group of top-notch experts in your field who are eager to collaborate, who are eager to benefit you, and of course, in return, you benefit them by sharing your expertise, your connections, or perhaps doing joint ventures with them. Now, this is something that for many Tai Chi and Qigong teachers is like a dream come true. It actually sounds almost too good to be true because they're not used to this type of collaborative approach. So many of the Qigong and Tai Chi teachers I've spoken to before this webinar mentioned to me that, how are you going to attract people into this new group? And I said, you know, I don't need to attract anyone. I just need to make it available. We only have 10 spots available open in this group. And we have over 500 people who registered for this webinar. So, and this webinar is also going to play for the next several days until World Tai Chi and Qigong Day this Saturday. So hundreds more people will learn about the opportunity to join the mastermind group. And we only have 10 spots available, as I said. So let me see if I can invite you to participate in this mastermind group in order to find out how to connect with this group of people and start working together with some of the most amazing experts in our field who are open to collaboration and eager to share their business practices. All you need to do is to simply go to qigongmasters.com/collaborate. Once again, qigongmasters.com/collaborate. What's going to happen is you will simply need to fill a very simple application. it's not even an application, it's more like a questionnaire. And these questions will allow us to see whether or not this is the best match between you and our group. We will notify you if we chose you to do an interview, because there's going to be an interview involved to get accepted into our group. We can't accept everyone, as I said, because we only have so many seats open. And we have literally hundreds of people who are excited to join our program. So I invite you to jump on the computer, unless you're on computer already, or mobile phone, and look up qigongmasters.com/collaborate. This will literally transform the way that you do your work and allow you to become much more creative, much more effective as a Tai Chi and Qigong professional. Now, I'm going to open the line to questions. We'll have a little questionnaire. It seems like we received a question about logging in. All right, so that's a technical issue. The best question that I received so far is, how much does it cost? Well, this is the program that is going to transform the way you teach. It's going to boost you to the next level of success in your practice. And of course, what is it worth to you? The program like this, if it was presented in another field, for example, the Mastermind Group for media people, they could charge $1,200 for this type of Mastermind groups. It lasts for a whole year, so they just charge $1,000 a month. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to charge you $12,000 a month. And in addition to monthly meetings, our Mastermind group also will include something that most Mastermind groups don't ever include. I will also coach you personally. That's right. As you probably know, I am the founder of a whole profession called Qigong coaching and Tai Chi coaching. I'm going to offer you one complimentary session as a part of the Mastermind group process. In this coaching session, you will be able to discover for yourself the most effective strategy that would allow you to start manifesting and living your dream of being the most successful Tai Chi and Qigong teacher you can be. What we'll also do in our Mastermind group is we will meet once a year, face-to-face. Again, many Mastermind groups never do that. And we will do that at the World Qigong Congress. It will be happening in San Francisco, California, next year, I believe in June. So what we'll do is we will go through the entire year, starting in May, of monthly meetings by a video conference, just like what you're experiencing right now. And at the end of that year, we will meet face-to-face. This is also going to be a great opportunity to really connect at a deeper level with each other and perhaps experience some of our practices hands-on, as well as discuss face-to-face some of the opportunities for collaboration that we'll be able to continue with throughout the rest of our lives or careers. So this is something that I would definitely encourage you to sign up for right now. And you don't even have to pay anything because it's an application process. There is no charge for taking the time to fill the application. It's going to take you about 5 minutes or 7 minutes. And by the time that you've completed this application, you will probably understand that we mean business. And by business, I mean we are going to empower you to become the most effective Tai Chi or a Qigong teacher you could possibly be. We will do this by engaging you in a process that's called Mastermind process. Collaboratively exploring what your strengths and weaknesses are, what your goals and dreams are. We will identify the course of action that will empower you to start applying yourself in the most productive and the most effective way, so that you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your energy. You actually follow some of the best business practices. And also, we will see how you can get the return on your investment, so that you don't just spend your time offering some free events all the time. Because yes, with free events, you can generate some goodwill, and those are important. But it's also important to generate some cash flow. I know that from my personal experience. As a Tibetan Lama, I always felt like doing free events is a wonderful thing. If people want to, they will donate. So I did a lot of free events, and I was doing a lot of pro bono work in my clinic, Portland Qigong Clinic. As a result of that, I ended up filing for bankruptcy. Now, I don't want you to go bankrupt. I want you to learn from my lessons, and I also learn from my own lessons as well. So I am more mindful nowadays about how I go about doing my work. And I also implore you to become very effective in the way that you do your work, so that you don't waste your time, energy, and money. It's very expensive to make mistakes like this. And it's also embarrassing to share with you that, yes, I screwed up so badly that I had to file for bankruptcy. But I don't perceive it as a problem, really. I perceive it as a great lesson that I received. And thanks to that, now I know exactly what the best practices are in terms of business acumen when it applies to Tai Chi and Qigong. And also, I'm happy to share it with a select group of people, and I really hope that you will be one of them. So please go to qigongmasters.com/collaborate and join our mastermind group. I look forward to working with you.